Imagine a firefight where the bullet hits you before the trigger's even pulled.
Oh, wow.
Or a battlefield where an explosion happens because a building collapses, like reversing the very flow of time.
Right, just completely breaking the laws of physics.
Exactly. And the only thing keeping reality from shattering into a million pieces is a 6-foot-tall bipedal feline doing advanced calculus in the middle of the war zone.
It is so wild.
It really is. So welcome to the deep dive. Today we are looking at a document literally stamped top secret leaked operative dossier. And it details an extreme threat known as the Siege Cat's Dimensional Response Unit.
Yeah, and we should clarify right away, right?
Oh, definitely. To be absolutely clear right up front for you listening, when we say CATS, this isn't like a clever military acronym for a human special ops team.
No, not at all.
The baseline facts from this dossier describe actual anthropomorphic feline operatives, and they're using non-terrestrial technology to operate far beyond normal human limits.
It is the kind of intelligence leak that, frankly, fundamentally breaks your understanding of the world. I mean, the dossier doesn't just list them as a potential hazard. It treats them with a level of deadly seriousness that is genuinely chilling.
Yeah, it's not a joke to the people who wrote it.
Not even a little. It explicitly warns that while one of these operatives is dangerous in isolation, when the siege cats deploy as a complete cohesive unit, conventional human opposition isn't just outmatched, it becomes mathematically obsolete.
Okay, let's unpack this because, I mean, the idea of a highly tactical bipedal cat SWAT team sounds completely wild on its face.
Oh, absolutely.
But the intelligence community is treating them as a reality-altering force. So to really grasp what makes them so unstoppable, we have to look at the anatomy of how they operate, starting at the very top of their chain of command.
Right, which is a command structure designed for scenarios where standard military doctrine would just instantly fail.
Right, exactly. So at the helm, you have the Supreme Overlord.
The overlords, yeah.
And the dossier describes him as this imposing, black-furred commander with green eyes. It says he stands around 6 feet tall and weighs 195 pounds.
Big guy.
Very big. But what stands out in his profile isn't just his physical authority, it's his total lack of a singular specialty.
Yeah, that was striking.
Right. In a team packed with hyper-specialized operatives, he is highly capable in literally every category.
Right.
Leadership, raw physical power, speed, tech comprehension. He does it all.
He has to.
But wait, I have to push back on a specific phrase in the dossier. It says the Overlord makes the final tactical calls on mission termination and the preservation of local reality.
Yes, that phrase right there.
Like, why does a tactical strike team need to worry about reality collapsing? That sounds like a job for a particle accelerator, not a stripe unit.
What's fascinating here is that this one phrase redefines their entire existence. I mean, the siege cats aren't fighting conventional wars over borders or resources, you know. They are managing physics. When a mission threatens local reality, it means the fabric of cause and effect of space and time in that specific area is actively unraveling.
Oh, man. So it's literally tearing apart.
Exactly. So the Overlord has to be a generalist because he is evaluating complex conceptual breakdowns of the universe.
In the middle of a firefight.
Yes. In the middle of active firefights, he can't get bogged down in one task. He has to orchestrate the survival of the dimension itself.
Which totally explains why he needs his second-in-command, Jazz.
Right.
Because if the Overlord is watching the fabric of reality, Jazz is watching the team. So Jazz is described as a Siamese operative, blue eyes, roughly the same size at 6 feet and 185 pounds.
Very similar build.
Yeah. And he operates as the unit's rapid analyst and operational coordinator, like a hyper-efficient COO to the Overlord's visionary CEO.
That is a perfect analogy.
And it says he can assume command in a split second if the Overlord falls. But the mechanism behind his coordination is wild. The dossier says Jazz possesses moderate psychic capabilities.
Yeah, but not in the way you'd think.
Right. He doesn't use this to, like, throw cars with his mind. He uses it to maintain a telepathic awareness of his personnel and their intent.
Precisely. I mean, Jazz functions as the psychic nervous system of the team.
Wow.
Think about it. In a situation where the laws of physics are breaking down, verbal communication or radio signals are likely unreliable.
Or completely compromised.
Exactly. Or compromised by the environment itself. So by telepathically managing unit cohesion, Jazz processes all the microscopic changes on the battlefield.
So they don't even need to speak.
Right. And this allows the rest of the team to focus entirely on their extreme specializations without constantly checking their flanks.
because Jazz is already routing the information directly into their minds.
Yep.
But, okay, if the Overlord and Jazz are managing the overarching reality of the mission and they're keeping the team's nervous system firing, who is actually handling the weird non-terrestrial science and the psychic threats on the ground?
Like you need boots on the ground for that.
Yeah, because a telepathic COO is great, but it doesn't stop an alien anomaly from melting your brain.
No, it certainly doesn't. And that burden falls to the specialists, specifically the intelligence and science officers. And they operate on a level that, frankly, defies human tactical logic.
Right. Enter Lestat and Crispy.
Two very interesting operatives.
Let's start with the intelligence officer, Lestat. So the dossier details a Sphinx operative, gold eyes, about 6 feet and 190 pounds, a highly imposing physical frame.
Yeah, very muscular.
And Lestat is the strongest known psychic in the unit. He senses hostile intent, shields the team's minds from external attacks, and acts as their logistics officer, acquiring non-terrestrial materials.
Which is a lot of hats to wear.
It is. But hold on, I've seen enough sci-fi and read enough military history to know the psychic or the logistics guy is usually the fragile, high-value asset you protect in a bunker.
Right, keep them safe at the back.
Exactly. Yeah, the dossier describes Lestat as a brutal, decisive frontline fighter with zero wasted movement. I mean, why is the guy reading minds also the one throwing the punches? That seems like a massive tactical risk.
Well, it seems like a contradiction until you analyze the nature of the threats they face.
Okay, how so?
The dossier suggests that the mental attacks directed at this unit are inextricably linked to physical violence.
Oh, so they're one and the same.
Exactly. You can't just block a psychic assault with a mental shield and wait it out. You have to physically sever the connection by eliminating the torts instantly.
Wow.
Yeah, Lestat doesn't negotiate, and he doesn't prolong confrontations. Because every millisecond an enemy is alive is a millisecond. They are tearing at the team's collective consciousness.
So he has to be a frontline brawler.
He absolutely has to.
It's just ruthless efficiency. You don't just read the enemy's mind, you cav it in so they stop broadcasting.
That's a grim way to put it, but yeah.
And then you have Crispy, the science officer. Now here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, Crispy is fascinating.
Yeah. Crispy is this orange tabby operative with amber eyes. Same physical build as Lestat, roughly 6 feet, 190 pounds. But his domain is dimensional physics, energy systems, and advanced computation.
Yeah.
And the dossier says he performs advanced mental math while under hostile fire. But we aren't talking about calculating bullet drop, right? He is calculating causality.
Which is perhaps the most terrifying word in this entire document, honestly. I mean, causality is the fundamental relationship between cause and effect.
Right, the idea that A causes B.
Exactly. And if Crispy is forced to mentally calculate causality in the middle of a firefight, it implies they are fighting enemies or anomalies where cause and effect itself has been weaponized.
Jeez.
Imagine a hostile entity that can alter the timeline of a localized area. The damage occurs before the attack is even launched.
That is messing with my head just thinking about it.
Right. So Crispy is doing the theoretical physics on the fly to keep time and space linear for his team. He is mathematically anchoring their reality so they can actually fight back. And he does all of this while engaging as one of the unit's most aggressive combatants.
It's like someone solving a quantum mechanics equation on a chalkboard while locked inside a mixed martial arts cage match.
It is completely absurd.
Totally absurd. But, you know, Crispy can only do the math. He can't secure a physical perimeter. I mean, you can't solve a math problem if the room you are standing in is actively dissolving into another dimension.
No, you definitely cannot.
To actually lock down a breach, you need a physical presence. You need boots on the ground.
You need the infiltrators and the heavy hitters. You really need operatives who can manipulate the physical environment just as effectively as Crispy manipulates the theoretical one.
Which brings us to Blade and Delpa, the ultimate ground game.
The physical anchors.
Yeah. Let's look at Blade first. He's their tactical weapons and security specialist, a gray tabby operative with gray eyes, same height and weight class, and his stealth abilities apparently rival even the Supreme Overlords.
Which is saying something.
Really saying something. He can infiltrate highly secured areas and establish denial zones without ever revealing his position. But the detail that completely stunned me is his biological efficiency.
Oh, the survival stats.
Yes. The dossier states Blade can remain on station for weeks, sometimes months, with absolutely zero supplies.
It's incredible.
He operates undetected in populated cities or uses ruined environments as long-term bases.
The discipline required for that is staggering. I mean, he is effectively a closed-loop system, a ghost who leaves no thermal, physical, or logistical footprint. He establishes the invisible perimeter within which the rest of the team operates.
Right. And then the dossier drops this incredibly bizarre detail about his accuracy. It says his weapons accuracy is second only to an operative named Sniper Cow.
Yeah, that part.
I have to pause here. I mean, are we talking about a literal bovine operative with a sniper rifle?
Well, it's one of those tantalizing, unexplained breadcrumbs. The dossier doesn't elaborate, but these bizarre anomalies like Sniper Cow hint at a much larger, sprawling, non-terrestrial network.
So they aren't alone.
Exactly. The Siege Cats are just one node in an ecosystem of beings and technologies that human intelligence agencies can barely even categorize.
It's wild. Just wild. And Blade's invisible ghost tactic is the perfect setup to talk about the absolute opposite end of the tactical spectrum, which is Delpa.
Yes, Delpa.
Delpa is the forced entry and engineering specialist. He's a Maine Coon operative with gold eyes, and he's towering over the rest of them at 6'2" and weighing 200 pounds.
An absolute unit.
Totally. He is the largest, possesses the greatest raw strength, and ironically is reported to be one of the fastest siege cats. He assesses structural limits and failure points instantly. If there are no tools to breach a reinforced structure, he just uses raw, direct physical force.
He is localized brute force applied with mathematical precision.
But wait, if he's generating that much kinetic energy, there has to be a cost, right?
Always a cost.
The dossier notes that his sustained combat capability is tied to massive caloric consumption. So Delpa isn't just strong, he's essentially a biological fusion reactor. To output the force required to shatter a concrete bunker without tools, his metabolism has to hyperaccelerate.
Turning food into pure concussive force.
Exactly. He turns massive amounts of food into raw kinetic energy. He burns fuel at an insane rate, like an Olympic swimmer on overdrive. What happens if he runs out of fuel mid-mission? He is practically a biological time bomb on a countdown.
Which perfectly illustrates why Lestat's logistics role and Blade's zero-footprint survival are so critical. The team has to balance Delpa's massive resource drain.
That makes total sense. They're all connected.
But Delpa isn't just a wrecking ball, you know. He's also a fabricator. The dossier mentions he manufactures items called chrome cat skulls, using designs produced by Crispy and an unknown entity known as HAL.
Again, what is a chrome cat skull and who is HAL?
Well, based on the context of Crispy's expertise in causality and dimensional physics, it's highly probable that a chrome cat skull isn't like a decorative item or a simple explosive.
Oh, gotta be too mundane.
It's likely a piece of advanced non-terrestrial technology. Think of them as dimensional pitons.
Dimensional pittance.
Yeah. While Crispy calculates the physics of a reality tear, Delpa uses his immense speed and strength to hammer these chrome skulls into the environment, stabilizing the dimensional rift and anchoring local reality.
That is unbelievable.
And HAL appears to be the off-site intelligence or architect providing the blueprints for this non-terrestrial tech.
The synergy is just incredible. You have Blade holding an absolutely silent, invisible perimeter. Inside that perimeter, Crispy is doing the math to counter weaponized time.
Yep.
While Delta acts as this high-calorie engine of destruction, physically hammering reality back into place. But, you know, you can't have forced entry, high-calorie destruction, and causality-bending firefights without taking catastrophic damage.
It's inevitable.
Right. Eventually, even a team this overpowered is going to hit a wall.
Exactly. When you are fighting battles that can unravel the universe, a standard combat medic with a trauma kit is entirely insufficient.
So enter Danimal, commonly known in the dossier as Doc.
Doc, yeah.
Doc is the chief medical officer, a Havana Brown operative with green eyes. He's a bit smaller, 5'11", 180 pounds, but he possesses the fastest natural healing rate in the entire unit.
Which is saying something for this unit.
Really is. He operates just behind the vanguard so he can immediately recover injured team members, but the dossier explicitly warns not to mistake his medical role for a lack of lethality. It says he is highly proficient with both firearms and melee weapons.
He's not just sitting in the back with bandages.
No. He's essentially a frontline combatant whose primary weapon just happens to be keeping the team alive, like a video game healer who also carries a rocket launcher.
Exactly.
But the gear he uses is where things go completely off the rails. It mentions medical tools designed for dimensional exposure.
Right, because they aren't just dealing with shrapnel or burns here. They are dealing with matter that has been exposed to physics-breaking anomalies.
So what does this all mean for, like, extreme loss scenarios? The dossier states that if a team member is physically obliterated, Doc can interface with that architect entity, HAL,
Yes.
to operate a causality engine.
Yeah.
Classified reports claimed Doc can reconstruct or clone team members from nothing.
This is where we have to look closely at the mechanism of a causality engine. We aren't talking about biological regeneration, you know.
Okay, so how does it work?
Think of causality like a long line of dominoes falling. If an operative is physically obliterated reduced to atoms by an anomaly, Doc's causality engine doesn't just try to put the last domino back up.
Right.
It reaches back through the timeline, finds the exact moment the first domino was pushed, and changes the physics of the table so it never could have fallen in the first place. He is temporally editing reality to bring them back into existence.
That is terrifying. It's not healing. It's a retroactive override of the universe.
It really is.
And the dossier casually admits that the limits and consequences of this process are unknown. I mean, there has to be a cost to rewriting the universe just to save one operative's life.
There always is in physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The energy required to reverse a localized timeline would be staggering, which explains why it's reserved for extreme loss scenarios.
Right, you wouldn't use it for a paper cut.
Exactly. And it explains why HAL's processing power is required to assist Doc.
Which brings us to the human element of this entire deep dive. Because while these operatives are bending time and hammering reality together, there is a human agency tasked with monitoring them.
Yes. The Weaponized Animal Division, or WAD.
Right, WAD.
The human observer. And I use the term observers deliberately because intervention is completely off the table.
Entirely off the table. The dossier notes that WAD theoretically has standing orders to recover Siege Cat assets. But the field agents flat out refuse to make direct contact.
And who can blame them?
Seriously. The intelligence summary admits that human personnel cannot defeat even one single Siege Cat in a conventional confrontation. Imagine the sheer terror of being a field agent for WAD.
It would be a nightmare.
You are effectively a local animal control officer, armed with standard-issue terrestrial weapons, and your commanders have sent you out to capture entities that can rewrite time and shatter bunkers with their bare hands. It's like a dog catcher realizing they've been sent to capture a dragon.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this dossier reveals a profound existential crisis within our own human intelligence agencies.
Yeah.
WAD surveillance teams observe from a distance, they document the aftermath, and they desperately avoid escalation. But WAD leadership is undergoing a massive paradigm shift.
Oh, for sure.
They're looking at the non-terrestrial technology, the causality engines, the sheer scale of the dimensional threats the Siege Cats are fighting, and they are coming to a startling realization about humanity's place in the pecking order.
They are realizing they are completely obsolete.
More than obsolete. They're realizing their ignorance is their only shield. I mean, the intelligence summary concludes that the Siege Cats might actually be preventing dimensional failures that human terrestrial agencies lack the scientific vocabulary to even detect, let alone understand or contain.
Wow.
WAD was established to hunt these anomalies, but the human leadership is slowly waking up to the fact that the targets they are supposed to be capturing are the only things keeping the fabric of the human world intact.
It is the ultimate paradox. The greatest threat to your intelligence agency's ego is actually your only line of defense against universal collapse.
Well put.
The current recommendation at the end of the dossier for WAD agents is literally just maintain surveillance, do not engage, do not interfere with an active Siege Cats operation.
Yeah.
It's formal government speak for stay out of their way and pray they win.
It is a remarkably humbling admission for an apparatus that usually prides itself on global dominance. It acknowledges that human authority ends where the Siege Cat's perimeter begins.
It truly does. So to bring all of this together for you listening, we are looking at an incredibly synchronized unit that operates entirely outside of human physics. You have the Supreme Overlord acting as the ultimate generalist, making split-second decisions to preserve the fabric of reality.
Yeah.
While Jazz acts as a telepathic router, binding the team's minds together, you have Lestat neutralizing psychic threats with brutal frontline violence, and Crispy mathematically anchoring the timeline mid-firefight.
All working perfectly together.
Right. You have Blade securing an invisible zero-footprint perimeter. Delpa acting as a biological fusion reactor to hammer dimensional pit pawns into reality. And when the absolute worst happens, you have Doc firing up a causality engine to edit the universe and bring his obliterated teammates back to life.
Which is still just wild to me.
And all of this is happening right under the noses of completely outmatched, existentially terrified human observers.
This raises an important question, though. It really forces us to confront the severe limits of our own perception.
Oh, so.
Well, we navigate our daily lives assuming we understand the physics of our world. We assume humanity is the apex species, in total control of our reality. But this dossier suggests that our world is incredibly fragile, constantly buckling under the weight of forces we can't even perceive and protected by beings we can barely comprehend.
It's a lot to take in.
It challenges you to accept that the most consequential battles in the history of our dimension might be happening right next to us, completely outside of our awareness.
We only see what our biology allows us to see. Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with today. Think about your own day-to-day life. The next time you experience a bizarre, unexplained case of deja vu, or, you have one of those strange moments where the lighting shifts, a glass falls but doesn't break, and reality just feels a little, off.
Yeah, we've all had those moments.
Yeah. Consider the possibility that it wasn't a random glitch in your brain. Maybe, just maybe, it was a catastrophic dimensional failure that a highly classified 6-foot-tall feline operative just fixed right in front of you, and you didn't even notice.